It's Pride Month, and since it's almost over, I wanted to talk about the gayest parts of my life. Let me preface this with I was a pretty smart kid. I know there are a lot of clods out there who say that the quietest ones are the smartest ones, but that was legitimately the truth in my case. As far as I was concerned, I was set for life. Being a good looking, privileged white boy with relative ease when it comes to learning, and a great memory to boot. I was so far ahead in this universe where I'm gay, so in the universe where I'm straight, I was already moved into my mansion with my lovely bride, Aubrey Plaza, by age 16. I admit that my intellect has suffered since I've gotten older. For my age, this is what they expect of you, and this is what I was. But for my current age, this is what they expect of you, and this is what I am. So compared to the rest of my generation, I'm pretty average. Having said that, the day that I realized I was gay, which was somewhere around 7th grade, it's a day that I count amongst the worst of my life. The first two people I told were my two besties at the time, Adrian and Truman. We were sitting on a salt pile over at the junkyard, and I just told them, and they didn't seem to care, as long as I didn't go grabbing their business or anything. I wasn't scared or anything, because I could easily take the two of them out alone. I always have been able to, and I always will be able to. But it was still a fantastic comfort they provided me nonetheless. Even with that smooth start, I still freaked out. I know there were and are people that hate me, but nobody hated me more than I hated me after I made that little self-discovery. I had a cousin who killed himself around that time, and at the funeral there were rumors floating around that he probably did himself in because he was gay. It was just rumors, but that still didn't help me at all to hear that. I flipped out even more than I've ever flipped out in my life. In my great ego, I thought, great, life isn't going to be as easy as I planned for anymore. I cut my arms, I started taking medication, which actually made me want to kill myself. Then, admittedly at my own fault, I got falsely diagnosed as a schizophrenic, which is still a stain on my records today, preventing me from getting life insurance ever. My doctor said that the MRI said that it wasn't schizophrenia, but the closest thing that it resembled was schizophrenia. But it wasn't schizophrenia. It just was wrong, and it closely resembled that. Perhaps a blessing in disguise, but the years of suffering that followed that diagnosis might have steeled me for any further disappointments in my future. A little off track here, but I want to talk about flirting. Something else that I realized much later is I was making a couple of my friends uncomfortable when I was flirting with them, I'm pretty sure. Fortunately for most of my friends, there were only like one or two that I actually found attractive. Or not even attractive, just had crushes on. I feel bad looking back on it, and I'm lucky none of them pile drive me for it. I could have restrained my urges better, and just internally decayed, but I was a selfish one. The only friend I remember blatantly flirting with is DJ, and it was because of those beautiful baby blues. My flirting these days is a little bit more subtle. I'll loose the most convincing of laughs at your jokes that I don't really find funny. Or I'll pretend to be totally interested in whatever you're showing me, even if I have no interest in it at all. I have one friend right now in particular where whenever he shows me anything, I give him the most cold, dead silence and a deadpan stare to go with it. Because let's be honest, he's not that funny, and neither is any of the stuff that he shows me. The flirting game of the straight is so weak. It's pathetic, really. My friend who inspired this consideration for what is flirting and what is just being nice recently told me that a girl at work brought him water. And that to him was flirting. And that really makes me want to reconsider every time I think about doing something nice for someone. I don't want it to get mistaken for flirting. I'm just trying to be nice. I wish that I could say as a 32-year-old gay man, people don't look at me different than their 32-year-old straight friends. But my friend's friend told him to be careful about how generous I was being to him, because to him, my gracious acts of charity sounded like flirting. My standards are so impossibly high. Why would I flirt with some pothead who's borrowing all this money from me and all these video games from me? Who would I hang out with? I always end up paying for booze and dinner. Oh wait, okay, I can see how that last one totally looks like flirting. My B. Buying someone dinner does sound legitimately gay, so I concede. But still, my standards are pretty high. I'm dating an art school graduate from a prestigious school of art and design. He has an unbeatable personality, fantastic hair, flawless charm, and a sense of humor surpassing my own. So when you possess none of those qualities, don't worry, I'm not flirting with you. I'm just being nice because I probably feel sorry for you for having none of those qualities. Closing this little off track that we've gone on, when a straight guy is nice to another straight guy, those guys are bros. And that boy is a decent human being as a result. When a gay guy is nice to a straight guy, it's flirting, I guess. On the flip, I feel like I've heard when guys turn down chicks, it activates a mechanism in her head that sends her down a crazy, insane, destructive path. But every chick that I've turned down so far, albeit it's only been a few, since I turned chicks down by saying, sorry, I'm gay, suddenly they act like we just became best friends. Now, while a lot of straight guys will chalk that up as a pro, I honestly don't know what to do with this perk. Back to what I was saying before. At some point after graduation and after I stopped taking my medication and started to feel phenomenally better physically and mentally, I said to myself, I wonder just how much crap I'll never be able to do, as they said, I can actually do before I die. And so, I got a job, and I learned to drive. I traveled the country. I entered a healthy relationship. I went to college and I held a GPA over 3.5 the whole time. And right now, I'm working on not living with my parents for the rest of my life. They're actually the ones that used to tell me, I'll be living with them forever. That's how it's gonna be. I used to be their little big burden. Now I'm their big little burden that doesn't have to be their big little burden forever. I 100% see their angle, but I will never pass up an opportunity to call out someone for backpedaling. Look, I didn't just win, I continue to win to this day. Through all obstacles, mistreatment, unfairness, that gets thrown from every angle. Went off the rails again there for a second, but anyway. I knew I was gay, but I had no interest in being with someone. Zero interest. My concerns from 1999 to 2006 were solely a focus on increasing my power level. But November 2006 is what ruined my eternal quest for power. I went to my first furry convention, Midwest Fur Fest in Chicago, and it was like a whole new world. I met up with some gay furry friends, and cuddles were the bomb. I needed one. I needed a cuddler for myself. Chapter 3. Dating. Nothing against Southern Illinois in general, but the pond for dating out here leaves so much to be desired. I had lunch with some hipster, then I burped, and it was over. That was the end of the date. No further dates after that. I went out with this guy who was so boring. I talked and I talked and I talked, and then when I stopped, he looked at me and said, "What's the matter? Is something wrong?" And I just went, "No, I just ran out of things to say." He didn't have a single response to anything I had to say to him. I went out with some Star Wars fanatic. He fell asleep on my shoulder, which, whatever. But he was the boring one. You've got to believe me! The rest were just, forgive the crassness, but they were come and go guys. And though on a few different occasions I did try the hookups, it was just never good enough to go back for a second try. People will sometimes ask me why I don't date the guys around here. And I'm just like, I've met all of them, and I hate all of them. That's why I go out with guys in South Africa, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, California, Florida, Canada, Italy, China, Felgana, Transylvania. The guy I'm with now, I've known for a little more than 3 years now, and we've been together for a little more than 2. This guy appeared to me after I'd finally come to terms with myself. I had the epiphany that I've always been happier alone than I have ever been with anyone that I was dating. But this guy was absolutely different. With him, I don't need my alone time. Being with him is my alone time, plus a bonus. My break from the rest of the world includes this guy seamlessly. He's so charming and funny and smart, and he's not a lech or a prick. The last thing I want to yammer on about is something that I've learned, and something that's become sort of a mantra for me throughout my gay experience. Life isn't fair, but I can handle it. I say that a lot in my head. I allow myself to get mad about something for maybe a week tops, but after that, I go right back to, this isn't so bad. When anyone, friend, family, or foe, would say the word faggot before, I used to get so offended. Now, while I've lightened up about it, my boyfriend had to teach me, the all thoughtful, all seeing wonder of the world that I am, that not everyone is like me, and that the things I'm sensitive about are inconsequential to others, and likewise, the things that they're sensitive about are inconsequential to me. Maybe try to be a little bit more considerate of other people's feelings, because you don't know where they've been, you don't know what they've been through. See, I didn't realize what I was saying. I used to tell people, grow up, stop being so sensitive, learn how to take a joke. And that's wrong. I don't know what they've been through, I don't know where they've been. They're sensitive for a reason, they can't take that joke for a reason. And do you hear me? I'm telling them to grow up? That's wrong on 2 levels. The first level it's wrong on is because, well, look at me. The second reason is, I'm the grown-up. I'm the parent who teaches their kid not to be mean to anyone. Tells little Billy to go apologize to little Susie for hurting her feelings. But when Big Billy here hurts Big Susie's feelings, I tell her to grow up. I tell her to stop being so sensitive. I tell her to take a joke. So at what age does little Billy transition from telling little Susie sorry to telling Big Susie to grow up? All I'm saying is I learned that it's unacceptable for a kid to be insensitive to someone's feelings, but it's even more unacceptable for an adult to be insensitive to someone's feelings. You should know better. You do know better. You're telling little Billy to know better, so you obviously know better. When you hurt someone's feelings, say sorry. It's not that hard. If a kid can do it, you can do it. And your parents shouldn't have to make you do it. I'm not so sure that most straight people understand that the way they feel when they get called a faggot is only magnified intensely to a faggot when a faggot is called a faggot. To some people, it really hurts that it's used as an insult. It implies something negative. Like if you call someone stupid, that is negative implications. When you call someone an idiot, when you call someone slow, when you call someone fat, when you call someone retarded. These are all things that nobody wants to be. Well, almost nobody. When you call a straight person a faggot, they don't want to be a faggot. A faggot doesn't want to be a faggot either. That's fine though, because life isn't fair, but I can handle it. When your dad or your brother or your friend is like, whoa, look at that girl, she's cute. And you say, yeah, bit of a butt rump on her. But then when you say a guy is cute, their reaction can only be described as, whoa, TMI, I don't need or want to be known about that. That's fine. You can talk about chicks and I can't talk about guys. Life isn't fair, but I can handle it. When your friend is sobbing because they lack the confidence to ask some hot chick out, you understand, because ladies are savage. I can't remember how many times I've seen a cute guy and then immediately in my head I spend a couple of minutes calculating out the risk versus reward of asking him out. No, it's not worth it. Just imagine all the possibilities, all the things that could go wrong when he says, I'm straight. Hey, straight friend, why don't you do this for me? Next time you're having a conversation with someone, just casually throw in, friend or family, casually throw in, boyfriend, my boyfriend. Even if you don't have a boyfriend, because you definitely don't have a boyfriend. Don't hesitate. I know it's hard to do, but don't hesitate. Nobody thinks any less of you when you say my boyfriend. Even to this day, though to a slightly lesser extent, I can still feel a slight hesitation when I let those words, my boyfriend, come salaciously belching out of my mouth. It's pathetically more easy for dudes that are still in the closet to just lie and say, my girlfriend, than it is to ever, in their entire life, once say my boyfriend. Now I can hear you saying, what's so bad about lying and saying my girlfriend? What is so bad about lying? I just never understood that. I mean, you do it all the time, and you're straight, you're the perfect one, so it must be okay. I'm the one who's wrong, because I like dudes, and I lie never. It is not possible to emulate to a straight person that feeling of coming out to anyone. Even if you told a straight person to tell someone that they're gay once, it wouldn't matter, because it'd be just like a big joke. As soon as they said it, they could just laugh and go right back to being straight. Like it was just a prank, bruh. When you do it, it feels like you've destroyed a family heirloom, like you've brought shame, disgrace, and dishonor to us all. I don't talk about being gay very often, because honestly, I'm not going to force something that's nobody's business into a conversation. And it's such a boring subject unless you're able to weave it into a conversation smoothly. I don't enjoy engaging on something that I don't have any interest in. Like I said at the start, it's Gay Pride Month, and all the entitled straighties are opening their big mouths for lack of an open mind. Not all straighties. Not my beloved straighties that I appreciate every day. But you all know them. You've seen them. You've read about them. Every gay person I know has at least a couple years of misery under their belt as a result of their sexuality. Remember that. As a result of their sexuality. Because I can already hear those boys screaming that their straight life is awash with misery as well, and we're no different from them. But shut the dink up for a minute. You weren't miserable because of your sexuality. You weren't miserable because you were straight. Maybe you were miserable because of a girl, but I assure you that is circumstantial misery of no relevance to your sexuality. Your parents, your relationship, your finances, a death of a loved one. These could all be sources of misery for you. Sexuality is not one you can add to your list. Your sexuality could even serve as solace in a time of misery. Next time you're in a pickle, try this. Just say out loud, at least I'm not gay. Being straight is never a source of misery. Being gay is quite literally, sometimes, a source of misery. And I have some disgusting coming out videos to back that up on cue. But look, I understand how hard it is to think of someone else when the rest of the world belongs to you. Minorities, women, and homosexuals are thought of as lesser humans in society. And you can tell me I'm blowing something out of proportion all you want. You don't want to hear it. Well, I don't want to hear that. There were historically several points in time where your fellow humans had significantly less rights than you. Significantly less rights. Your fellow human beings, despite, also being human beings. That's just like somebody who has every opportunity, every advantage, and everything going for them to complain when anyone who doesn't have those scores a victory. You can't sit in that seat. You can't vote. You can't drink from that fountain. You can't get married. And you can't wear that hoodie without having a gun pointed at you, or worse. You would see the world through different eyes if you'd ever been told you can't do something that the majority are carrying around as a basic human right. If you feel personally attacked by this, you know what? I'm glad. And I urge you to sit down and think about why you're stupid right now. It's because you're only thinking of yourself again, and you hate it when anything positive isn't about you, and you hate it when anything negative is about you. You can overcome your negativity though. I believe in you. Life isn't fair, but you can handle it.